Good evening, and indeed enjoy the food. This is a dinner. Thank you for the kind invitation. Thank you for turning this interesting room to such a wonderful room tonight. I could not believe it, actually, when I came here in the morning. I could not believe that I would come in this kind of dress. So I checked twice today, whether the room really transformed, and you can hardly recognize it. So thank you very much, and a big applause for this wonderful organization for tonight. Excellencies, dear journalists, dear award winners, I would like to start with a quote. If I die, I won't allow death. I don't want to be just breaking news or a number in a group. I want to death the world will hear, an impact that will remain through time, and a timeless image that cannot be buried by time or place. These were the words of Fatima Hassouna, a 25-year-old photojournalist from Gaza. Her wishes were tragically fulfilled. Fatima was killed along with several members of her family in an Israeli airstrike in April, just one day after it was announced that a documentary on her work had been selected for the Cannes Film Festival. In the articles written about her and in the documentary released shortly after her death, the world witnessed what was lost. A young life, 25 years, full of promise, cut short. Fatima was one of nearly 70 journalists killed this past year. Killed while doing the noblest of work, shining light on truth, stories and struggles that would otherwise remain unseen. Giving voice to the voiceless, the million Palestinians suffering, fulfilling a role many of us did not. Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends, it is my pleasure to join this 29th Annual UN Correspondents Association Awards, recognizing excellence in covering the United Nations, especially in these times of crisis. Today, more than ever, we need your work. And tonight, I will therefore speak less about the crises in Sudan, in Ukraine, or Gaza, and the so many forgotten crises, at least not directly. I'm here to talk about you, about the women and men who dedicate their careers to the transparency of diplomacy, who report on mundane resolutions and active war zones with equal professionalism, who eliminate the human dimensions of complex policy documents, who hold this institution, us, accountable, highlighting our successes and forcing us to confront our failures. Without your dedication, how would the world know when we are not living up to our promise? Or when, coercively, quiet progress is indeed being made? How would people know of the life-saving work of the World Food Programme? I was asking many, many times when I started my office, so why does the UN matter at all? And it matters because of this. Every day, this institution is saving not one life, not 100 lives, but million lives, due to the work of the World Food Programme, due to the work of UNICEF, due to the work of UNRWA, and due to so many people, and we can be proud of this every single day. And some of you might have noticed I'm a big fan of being frank and open, so I would like to strongly encourage you to continue exactly also this, to cover also the positive stories, not to please us, but because in a social media world, and Valeria was referring to that as well, in a social media world where hate gets 6 times more clicks than good news, the world desperately needs stories of hope and good news. To remember that our real world out there and not on social media is definitely not as bad, full of hate or polarized as social media would have us believe. A belief, and I think this is important in these days to speak out, a belief perpetrated not by coincidence, and that it clicks 6 times more is also not an coincidence. It is programmed in the algorithm to deliberately silence the good stories, silence those who stand up every morning like journalists or humanitarian aid workers to do the right thing. And as Holocaust survivor Simon Wiesenthal said, for evil to flourish, it only requires good men to do nothing. This year, your work takes on an additional dimension. We reshape this United Nations not only tonight by setting up nice lamps and flowers, that's the easy part, but to reform this institution after 8 decades. And reform, as you know, is shaped by public perception. And public perception is shaped again by you, journalists. Constructive criticism is not something to fear. It is indispensable. After 8 decades, this institution needs a deep reform. And in a world where fake news is weaponized by those who would seek to undermine, it is people like you who help to tell the real story. You help us remind the world that in no way would it be better off without this United Nations, as imperfect as it will always be. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather tonight to celebrate the long relationship between the UN and UNCA, we are also here to honor extraordinary individual journalism. I was told, in no uncertain terms, you're also bold, not to let slip and reveal the winners, so I must speak only in abstract, but I think I can say safely, I applaud you, the women and men who found a way to speak up when so many stayed silent, who separated every wordy resolution to find the real meaning, who highlighted the impact of budget cuts on the ground level work of the UN, on farmers in the Sahel, on women in Afghanistan, on children in Haiti, and on our forests, oceans, biodiversity we depend on. And who, for our honorees, the citizen honorees, use art and movies, food and cuisine to say what others dared not to say. To all you, the distinguished awardees we celebrate tonight, we thank you and we applaud you. Thank you for your commitment, your perseverance. Thank you for bringing stories of hope and hardship, of failure and progress into the public eye. Thank you for ensuring this organization does not turn inward or lose its way, for always reminding us that the world is indeed better together, better with these United Nations. Excellencies, distinguished guests, before closing, allow me to extend my appreciation to Ms. Valeria Rebecca. Thank you, Valeria, and the UN Correspondents Association for inviting me this evening. It's personally meaningful to be here. You see, it was mentioned by our wonderful moderator and host tonight, when I was younger, I dreamt of becoming a war correspondent. It is even why I studied international law. Life, of course, had other plans, and actually, to be honest, I did not make it beyond my local newspaper. That's the real truth. But the idea of this profession, what it really represents, will resonate deeply. As President of the General Assembly, I feel every day in these shaky geopolitical times what it means, what it takes to speak up for our common principle, when it would be so more convenient to just stay quiet. So for tonight, let's recognize and celebrate this spirit, as many are already doing, the spirit of the awardees, the spirit of Fatima Hassouna, to be loud, loud in your critics, loud in our defending humanity, and loud in speaking the truth. I thank you.